Good day, everyone. We are the Group 12. We're going to discuss the managing inventories. And I am Renan, one of the reporters for today. This is our agenda. First is we're going to explain the importance of inventory, types of inventories, and key decisions and costs. Describe the major characteristics that impact inventory decisions. Describe how to conduct an ABC inventory analysis. Explain on how to fix order quantity, inventory system operates, and how to use the AOQ and safety stock models. Explain on how to a fixed period inventory system operates. Lastly, we're going to describe the how to apply the single period inventory model. To discuss the inventory and inventory management, may I call on Miss Magbanbat? Thank you.
Thank you. So for now, we're gonna talk about with the inventory. Inventory mainly refers to the asset held for future use or sale. On a simple word, it is the complete list of all the items that's been used to produce the product. For example, for goods and products that is also ready to sell, including the raw materials and then the other materials used to produce the item or the product. When we say, on the other hand, when we say inventory management, most likely it is an overall planning, coordinating, controlling. Also, it is also the process of ordering, storing, and also selling the company's inventory. The main example of this would also be by tracking the inventory from manufacturer going to the warehouse, from the facilities to the point of sale. Next slide, please. Next would be understanding the inventory. The first one is the raw materials, component parts, sub-assemblies, and supplies. This is the input of the manufacturing of the service or the product. Most likely, without these materials, the input cannot be made or the product will cannot be created. Next would be the work in process inventory. When we say work in process inventory, it is consists of a partially finished product. The example of the work in process inventory is if a company sells a bags of coffee, work in process inventory would include the materials such as the bag labels, the coffee beans itself, and then the boxes. Next would be the finished good inventory. This is already a complete product that is ready to produce or ready to distribute to the customers. For example, the foods that can be um, located at a grocery store, it's already been fully or finished product that can be um, produced to the customer. Next would be the safety stock inventory, meaning it is the additional amount of inventory just to make sure that the required demand will be or we can meet the required amount. The main example of the safety stock inventory would be um, if a company would be sell or will sell a 100 products of a coffee bean per day, the company still needs at least five more coffee bean stock for the next 5 days, just to make sure that the stocks will not gonna go out. Next would be we're gonna go down to managing inventories and global supplies. When we say managing inventories and in global supplies, most likely it is focusing on the total cost, ensuring the quality, the delivery of the performance of the product or service. And the main objective of this is to evaluate the potential of the company if it's gonna be, if it's gonna work out on the market. Lastly, would be the environmentally preferable purchasing or green purchasing. So from the word itself, environmentally preferable purchasing, it is, or the main objective of this would be to minimize the negative environmental impacts. The big example of this is the practice that we can see right now on the fast food chains or even the Starbucks or other establishment, reducing the use of straws inside or outside. That is to make sure that the use and the recycling, there is a recycling or proper disposal of the materials. So next, please. Next reporter, please. May I call the next reporter, Miss Nadine?
Four categories of inventory cost. Number one, ordering costs. Ordering costs, also known as setup costs, are essentially costs incurred every time you place an order from your supplier. Ordering costs embrace payroll taxes, advantages, the procurement department's wages, labor costs, etc. Sample of ordering costs are transportation costs, cost of finding suppliers and expediting orders, receiving costs, clerical costs of preparing to get orders, cost of electronic interchange. The next one is inventory holding cost. The total cost of maintaining unsold inventory is known as inventory holding cost. Within a single supply chain, inventory holding costs are considered as a part of the total inventory cost, like warehousing, insurance, labor transportation, depreciation, inventory shrinkage, damage or spoiled goods. Example of inventory holding costs are inventory services cost, inventory risk cost, opportunity cost, money invested within inventory, storage space cost, inventory funding cost. The next one is shortage cost. Shortage costs are the expenses experienced by a company when it does not have enough inventory on hand. These expenses include lost revenues from clients who go elsewhere to make purchases, lost margin, lost margin or on unfinished orders, and overnight shipping charges to acquire goods not in stock. This is a crucial factor when selecting how much inventory to keep on hand, especially for business that compete on a customer service. Example of these are emergency shipment costs, disrupted production costs, customer loyalty, and names. Next one is unit cost of the stock keeping unit. A stock keeping unit or SKU is a number that assigned to a product for the purpose of inventory management and ease of tracking. In other words, a stock keeping unit is a unique identifier assigned to each product for easier and more efficient record keeping. Yung stock keeping unit stock keeping unit po is ito yung ma-identify po natin yung color, yung type, yung mga sizes, yung manufacturer code. Next slide po. Characteristics characteristics of inventory. Number of items. Each item is identified by a unique identifier called a stock keeping unit cost. SKU are highly important and commonly used by retail stores like warehouses and product fulfillment centers. Ang SKU po ay pwedeng gamitin sa pag-identify ng mga products, tracking inventory para malaman kung ilan ang mga available na specific na product, helping reconcile stock levels of products, identifying shrinkage in inventory, determining which products are the most profitable, helping identify reorders point of products, helping customers save time by enabling them to find products quickly. Next presenter po.
Now, we're going to proceed to natures of demand. First is independent demand. Dependent demand is demand for an SKU that is unrelated to the demand for other SKUs and needs to be forecast. It is the finished product. It does not depend on the demand for other products. So example, if the CEO of a beauty product make and sells rejuvenating set, the demand of rejuvenating set is not dependent to other products. Next is dependent demand. So directly demand for an SKU that is unrelated to the demand for other SKUs. It can be calculated without needing to be forecast. For example, the demand of beauty product or the rejuvenating set ingredients is depend on the demand of the consumer needs. And next is static demand. It is a stable demand. Example, the common goods such as utilities and medicine prescriptions. Dynamic demand is varies over time. Example, the technology and the computer software, it will be changed over times. Uh, Next is number and durations of time periods. Single period as a single purchase made for a product at the end of the sales period, any remaining product has minimal or negligible value. Example, the Christmas tree, magazines, and so on. Next is multiple period. It determines the optimal order quantity of product at the start of each period is an important to examine the supply chain management. So example is the quantity discount. So next is lead time. The lead time is the between placement of an order it's received. The example of lead times is the business uh, day period. Stakeout. So stakeout is the ability to satisfy the demand for an item. So uh, in a stakeout, the customer are satisfied on the manufacturing products. So next is back order. So occurs when a customer is willing to wait for an item. So in this scenario, the customers are willing to wait to produce the product from manufacturers. Low scale is occurs when the customer is unwilling to wait and purchase the items elsewhere. So in this scenario, the customer have rights na mag-change ng manufacturer if the manufacturer of the product is hindi na-reach yung period time na gusto ni customers. To discuss the ABC inventory analysis is may I call on Mr. Solis. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Comboy. For ABC inventory analysis, ABC inventory analysis categorizes SKUs in three groups according to their total annual dollar usage. Number one is letter A. Items account for a large value but relatively a small percentage of total items. Meaning ito yung mga high value items, mahal na product, for example, iPhone. And then number two is letter C. Items account for a small dollar value but a large percentage of total items. Example naman dito is yung low demand siya pero ah ano ba? Ano 'to, is low value item siya, kabaliktaran lang siya ng letter A. Murang product, for example, yung mga iPhone charger, makakabili ka ng marami sa hindi naman gaanong kamahal na prices. And then yung number three is letter B, items are between A and C. Meaning, middle lang siya, hindi siya masyadong mahal na item and then hindi rin siya masyadong mura na item. And ABC Inventory Pareto Analysis, same lang din siya ng explanation, basahin ko na lang din po. Next slide po. Salamat. E items account for a large dollar value but relatively small percentage of total items. Example, 10% to 30% of items yet 60% to 80% of total dollar value. And then letter C, items account for a small dollar value but a large percentage of total items. Example, 50% to 60% of items, yet about 5% to 15% of total value. This can be managed using automated computer systems. And then yung letter B, sinabi ko nga, items are between A and C. Napapagitaan lang siya ng dalawa. For the next slides, please. Managing fixed quantity inventory systems. Fixed quantity systems or FQS, the order quantity or a lot size is fixed. The same amount Q is ordered every time. Um, if familiar kayo sa Alibaba, ganyan sila, may product na specific kang orderin. For example, charger. For Android lang or pang iPhone, pipili ka lang and then fix na yung amount and then same quality lahat ng makukuha mo and then bawal din siyang haluan ng iba pang charger or other unit po. And then the fixed order lot size queue can be a box, pallet, container, or truckload. Meaning yung fixed order, for example, may mga store or shop sa Alibaba na hindi sila nagbibigay ng retail, kundi box ng product or maramihan talaga na aabot pang a container ang item or i-truckload pa siya. And then Q does not have to be economically determined as we will do for the EOQ model later. And then for inventory position, IP is equal OH plus SR minus BO. Next slide, please. Reorder point, the value of the inventory position that triggers a new order. For managerial decisions, order quantity, Q, and reorder point or R. Ordering decision rule, a new order is triggered whenever the inventory position for the item drops to a past. The reorder point, the size of each order is Q units. Meaning is to help ordering decision rule is to help organizations determine when and how much to maintain an efficient balance between demand, holding cost, and ordering cost. And then key characteristics, the order quantity Q is always fixed. The time between orders TBO is constant when the demand rate is stable. The time between orders TBO can vary when demand is variable. Meaning, key characteristics refer to the qualities, feature, or attributes that defines and differentiate an object or entity. These characteristics are often used to describe, identify, and categorize things. May I call Mr. Gatdula for next reporter? Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Wilbet. The EOQ model or the economic order quantity is developed in the early 1900 that minimize total cost, which is the sum of the inventory holding cost and the ordering cost. EOQ or economic order quantity helps you to determine the ideal order size to avoid inventory cost and understocking and overstocking. As a single item, SKU is considered. SKU is a stock keeping unit, which is scannable code to help vendors automatically track the movement of the inventories. Usually, ito yung mga barcode or yung mga SKU number per product. The entire order quantity arrives in the inventory one at a time. So, sa order quantity, hindi siya parang sabay-sabay darating sa stocks natin or sa inventory natin. Kailangan one at a time para maiwasan natin yung lapses tsaka yung magsama-sama yung product to other product. Only two types of cost are relevant: order setup and inventory holding cost. Ito naman, ito yung relevant orders or yung mga kailangan or naka-priorities na order versus setup and inventory to prevent holding cost. No stock outs are allowed. Then demand for the item is deterministic and continuous over time. And lastly is lead time is constant. Ito naman sa lead time, para ma-check rin natin kung abot ba yung incoming inventory versus sa stockyard natin or sa space natin sa office or sa business natin para maiwasan natin yung overstocking. The next slide po. The cycle inventory, also called order or lot size inventory, is inventory that result purchasing or producing in a larger lots that are needed to immediate consumption or sale. Sa cycle inventory naman, ito yung sa lot size inventory or yung pag-rent natin sa storage space, labor, or insurance para dun sa mga item. Then average cycle inventory is maximum inventory plus minimum inventory over 2 or quantity 2. Inventory holding cost. Affirm that holding cost includes storage, space, labor, and insurance, as well as the price of damaged or spoiled goods. For example, sa inventory holding cost, ito yung mga nire-rent na stockyard or areas na pwedeng paglagyan ng mga inventory na hindi kakasya dun sa store. Then CH over IC. Then annual inventory minus holding charge expressed as a percent of unit cost. Then C is unit cost of the inventory item or SKU. Next slide po. Yeah.
Annual inventory minus holding cost is computed. Annual inventory equals average inventory times annual holding cost per unit. This formula is a simplified representation of the annual holding cost. It states that the annual inventory cost is equal to the average inventory multiplied by the annual holding cost per unit. Annual ordering cost equals number of orders per year times cost per order equals annual demand divided by the order quantity. Next po. Total annual cost. Total annual cost equals 1 divided by 2 multiplied by order quantity and annual holding cost per unit plus annual demand divided by order quantity times cost per order and economic order quantity. The economic order quantity formula essentially calculates the optimal order quantity that balances two types of cost. First po ay ang ordering cost. This cost decreases as the order quantity increases because fewer orders need to be placed. Second is holding cost. This cost increases as the order quantity because holding more inventory results in higher holding cost. For calculating the reorder point, the reorder point or R is a critical concept in inventory management. It represents the level of inventory at which you should place a reorder to ensure that you don't run out of stock before the new inventory arrives during the lead time. Here's the formula for calculating the reorder point. Reorder point equals lead time demand equals LTD equals demand rate or D times lead time. For safety stock uncertain demand in a fixed order quantity system. Safety stock are also known as buffer stock. It is a vital component of inventory management, particularly when dealing with uncertain or variable demand in a fixed order quantity system. And service level, it is a critical concept in inventory management and customer service that quantifies the level of fulfillment or reliability a company provides to its customers. It's often expressed as a percentage and represents the probability that customer demand will be met from available inventory without stockouts. In other words, service level measures how often a company can deliver products or services to customers as expected. Next, next slides po. Safety stock uncertain demand in a fixed order quantity system. When a normal probability distribution provides a good approximation of lead time demand, the general expression for reorder point equals average demand during the lead time plus safety stock. That's all. Thank you. Next reporter, please.
Managing Fixed Period Inventory System. Fixed Period System, or FPS, sometimes called the Periodic Review System, in which the inventory position is checked only at fixed intervals at time, T rather than on a continuous basis. Two principal decisions in a FPS: the time interval between review and the replenishment level. Economic time interval T equals Q as is slash D, optimal replenishment level with the safety stock. Next slide po. And managing fixed period inventory system, uncertain demand. Single period inventory model applies to inventory situation in one order is placed for good in anticipation of a future selling season where demand is uncertain. The optical order quantity Q must satisfy. Thank you.